Hello, everyone. My name is Cyrus Yadigar. In next few minutes, I will just be presenting to you a presentation about creating a Assyrian head organization. We are a group of people who believe that the Assyrians do need to have a head organization because we are a body without a head, if you will. So, to create a democratically elected council that will plan, coordinate, and lead efforts in order to protect the interests of all Assyrians around the world. So finally, there would be one organization that cannot say, oh, this is not part of my territory or my responsibilities or my interest. Everything that need to be addressed from Assyrian heritage and culture and history and the refugees and Assyrian needies around the world, everything will be under the provision of this representative body. So we do not have a head organization currently. If you are familiar with the Assyrian organizations, there are some small or large political parties that are only focused on a specific area in a country, like Assyrian Democratic Party in or Assyrian Democratic Movement in Iraq, and there is some in Syria, and there are many others, but Nahran and in Iraq again. So there are some political parties only focused in a certain region. There are some organizations that claim to be representing all Assyrians, like Assyrian Universal Alliance, but they are actually not elected. They are not democratically elected. They are self-appointed groups that have behind the door some deals with various countries and power groups, and not to insinuate anything, but it is not transparent, or it's not elected, it's not represented by the public. So moving on, stateless nations. A stateless nation is a real thing. I mean, yeah, that's probably already aware of stateless nations. We are one of them. There are many other people who have a claim of being a nation because of their language, their history, their uh, culture, and all that makes them to claim to be a nation. Kurds have that claim, and they created their parliament in exile around 1995. But in 2003, with the aid of the United States, they were able to create a regional government in North Iraq, and there exists now a regional Kurdish government. It's not a full-fledged country, but still, I think it's a very good thing for the Kurds. Tibetans, when China attacked and took Tibet, they created administration in exile around 1959, and in 2011, Dalai Lama decided to rescind his power and basically let the civilians run the administration committee of the Tibetans. It's a government in exile, in essence. Jews, same thing. They probably had several central committees in the United States, in Europe. There are many of them if you go and check out online. And they were finally able to create their state in 1948, and it's a legit country now. So Assyrians have tried to establish central committee. As I said, AUA was an effort in, I don't know, 1950s, 1960s, somewhere around there. Assyrians came together to create that the Universal Alliance, but it ceased to be a democratically elected group. So it's a closed organization. You will be invited into it if you deem to be, worthy and work hard, and they will pick you and add you to their group. But it's not something that you can replace them in an election or anything like that. So, uh, with that, let's talk about us. So, this is some of us, not all of folks that are working on this idea. I just stick some images here for you to know some of the people. Apologies to those who I couldn't find the pictures or put it here, just to say that we are real people around the world, from United Emirates to Germany to Armenia to Sweden, United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Belgium, and so on and so forth. So, just to give you an idea, we started in 2014, and we had many meetings and stuff. You can see it here, basically the history. Uh, a, a milestone was when we gathered together in 2019 in Yerevan, Armenia. Armenia was easy for us to travel to, low cost, basically venue in Armenia, and Syrians from Iraq were able to travel there easily. No need to, too much sweating about getting visa and that. It was easy for them to come to Armenia. And other Assyrians from Europe was a short travel. Only us from Australia or United States had the longest travel, but that was fine, and we were happy to be there. And we basically tried to show emphasize on the need for creating an Assyrian head organization. You can call it Assyrian Parliament, Assyrian National Council, Assyrian whatever. Just something that says this organization leads Assyrians in the whole world. So we followed up with the 2020 February, just at the cusp of um, COVID-19. Before everywhere were closed, we were able to meet in Wiesbaden and discuss this and try to add more federations, like Assyrian Federation of Germany and a bunch of other Assyrian federations of Australia and whatnot, to the group, and grow the basically the participation. We've been meeting bi-weekly, sometimes weekly since then. We had an online Zoom meeting in 2021. Again, emphasize, introduce, bring intellectuals and activists to see what their opinion is, and political parties, and so on. So, because of COVID, there was not much of a growth and activity from 2020. So, these Zoom meetings kind of kept us alive. We did one again in November 2023. This was supposed to happen in UAE, in United Emirates, but we had to do it on Zoom. And then finally, now in 2025, we're planning to do in person and online for those who cannot come. So maximize the participation in Yerevan again, hoping that Assyrians can come from all around the world, from the local countries. Um, I mean, Ukraine is in war, but maybe they can come and attend in Armenia and Georgia and Iran and Iraq and all the close by countries, and from abroad, from Europe and the United States and Australia and Canada. And the goal for this one is to get some minimum bylaws approved and select a committee that will start the job. We will never be able to do a perfect job of having a wonderful election that everyone can participate. We're never going to have that much money, that much power, and that much reach. So we have to start somewhere, and we have decided to start that, kickstart that committee this year, the coming year, April of 2025, in Yerevan, Armenia. And so, humble beginning, some laws and some people to start, and we hope that to add on this in 2026 with the following conference, where we will gather again in some country, maybe Georgia next time, maybe in Europe, America. I don't know, wherever we can bring people, but most likely again a country that is easy for all to attend, and will follow and add to the strength and will enrich that organization. So, uh, so as all those words again here in words, that we will meet in person and via Zoom, and we will have a follow up, and we will have the bylaws, and some people elected. So, who will attend? People can be coming individually, or representative of an NGO, like if you have a cause, you help Assyrian needy, you help Assyrian elderly, you have a Assyrian language group that enthusiastic about teaching language or preserving it or improving it or whatever. But that group is not a community club or community association. It's just a group of people who believe in a cause and working on it. You can attend as that group, and that will give you more power, more voting power, basically, as opposed to an individual. And then, if you are representing an Assyrian association, uh, you will have more power to vote, have a bigger voting power. And finally, if you are a representative of a federation, such as Assyrian Federation of Sweden or Germany or United States or any other federation, if it exists, um, uh, to the tune of how many associations you are representing, you will have more voting power. And these details are not hashed out. We hope that we can approve this with the consent of all people attending there on the first day of conference or second day of conference, and then go about our election. So, and then finally, yeah, the year 2026 will be where when we will have we will come back quickly to see what in 1 year the group achieved, that head organization, and help them to add more members or replace those that have left or whatever that need to be done, and approve more laws and bylaws and guidelines and whatever that need to be done by a bigger body, so they get power from the nation in large. And so this is a diagram showing us, the preparatory committee. We decided to create some subcommittees, but subcommittees or not, we are heading toward that 2025 general conference. Um, we all work in various capacities, like uh, how you say, preparing, getting the hotel, the logistics, basically the money that we need to have to get there and have hotel and have a venue for the people to come and participate, and all other stuff. We are currently doing that to welcome all people attending in 2025 April. um, with us, we hope there will be some elected organizations and some non-elected orgs, as I mentioned, like NGOs and various cause-driven organizations. And we will elect a group of people to be the temporary head organization for the Assyrian nation, and they in turn can create committees for 1 year that they will be working on that agenda. Um, Now they can either decide to just do be as the organization came together by the vote of the other Assyrian organizations and individuals and NGOs and so on, and we can maybe call it Assyrian National Council. Then they might be able to create a virtual Assyrian government with people from all around the world joining as members, as Assyrians who believe in Assyrian virtual government and pay a membership and abide by whatever that virtual government decides. And if 500 Assyrians around the world pay some monthly due and and elect 10 people or 20 people and call that the Assyrian government, it's open to all. Whoever joins, that will create the funds for the virtual government, and it is by the members' vote. It's not anymore elected organizations, representatives, or non-elected or individuals who come and attend in the conference, but that could change to people around the world becoming a member of the Assyrian nation, paying due, and then following out, and then that organization represents those Assyrians, and hopefully more and more will join, and in the absence of any other option, that will become basically the de facto Assyrian virtual government. Other possible scenarios are Assyrian parliament. So again, that group of temporary elected Assyrian head organization may end up having be able to hold elections for all the Assyrians around the world, or most of them, or very, very it is possible. Like if it's not possible in Iraq, it's not possible in Iraq, but if it is possible in Germany or Australia or other place, if they allow Assyrians to attend and elect representatives, then those representatives will be the Assyrian parliament, and they will, as the parliaments do, they will just do the laws and rules and stuff, and they then give power to executive committees. And executive committees, in all these examples, there will be the end result is some executive branch, because a committee, none of these are able to address everything. They have to give power to some executive people to do things. There are some other names thrown out there and some other scenarios, but it's vague, and I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. And if you're not able to do that this year, Assyrian General Conference of 2026 hopefully can again basically fortify this committee and try to create one of these options or any other option that may come around. So Assyrian Nation, Assyrian National Council, or Assyrian Parliament, or whatever you end up electing, will be made of Assyrians from United States, Australia, Sweden, Iraq, um, anywhere in the world, and basically based on the people who live there, they will have representatives in that Assyrian National Council, and that will be the ideal in future. So this is basically repeating previous slide, and just shows that how organizations like federation and associations that are part of that federation versus associations that are not tied to that federation, they all represent the country X, and and then there might be some communities that will do not have a association at all, and they will do a direct election. So these are scenarios that are possible. That's too far, too much in future, and hopefully we somewhere someday get there to discuss this. Principal rules. We do not want to get stuck over the identity issues with Assyrian, so we chose Assyrian identity. That is the cornerstone. I understand that some Chaldeans, some thinks that we are Chaldean or Chaldo-Assyrian or any other identity, mixed name identity, but we do not have time to fight these kind of things. To simplify things, we start with the strongest uh, faction, the most active Assyrians are those who go with the name Assyrian. So that will be our chosen identity. We leave that in the hands of the people in future if they want to expand on that. But that is just the cornerstone. The goal of this effort is to create a sustainable leadership, and the best way of doing this is to make the process as democratic as possible. So the danger of organizations basically expiring is when they become non-democratic. Any of our organizations that chose to close the door on elections and renew its power by letting people come and take power basically have shown us the need to sustain that democracy and transparency and accountability, and repeated basically periodically electing new team to make sure that it refreshes itself. So that's the another cornerstone, and then accountability, transparency, of course, because that is the way to protect your democracy. Uh, Voting rules, yeah, each individual will have one vote. That is one suggested scenario for voting in Armenia. So if you took the hardship on yourself to travel all the way to Armenia or attend it via Zoom, you will have one vote, and this just increases the democracy. Uh, the more individuals, if 1,000 individuals attend, they will have 1,000 votes. So each Assyrian local organization that is elected by direct votes will have 3 votes. So we don't foresee that we will have thousands of Assyrians joining. We don't have that expansive reach. So we thought that 3 votes for a local organization as opposed to 1 vote for an individual who came all the way there is balanced. Um, if we give an organization votes equal to their community number, that would be one organization having 1,000 votes, and 10 people who came all the way there will have nothing to say, and uh, it just that doesn't encourage people to come if their vote is so little as compared to an association. So we just give them a limit, a balanced power of voting, 3 votes for organization for an elected local organization, and each Assyrian federation that represents multiple Assyrian associations will have 5 votes. Again, um, if 2 or 3 associations come from around the world, but then suddenly one federation comes and steals the show because they have 20 organizations under them, then that will be the power to take over the whole conference. So we limit that to 5 votes. If associations themselves didn't show up and send a representative in the form of for their federation. So every cause-driven organization, Assyrian humanitarian rights, Assyrian needy, Assyrian art, Assyrian language organizations, they will have 2 votes because it's more than one person, because it's an organization that lives and works and does things. It's not an individual. Even if there's one individual only running that organization, it's an organization that registered and does things, has a cause. It's not just a person that aware about Assyrian things but not doing active work. So 2 votes. And political parties, the biggest ones, 3 votes each, and because they are as big as a federation, so makes sense to like Assyrian Federation in the United States is a huge organization, and Assyrian Democratic Party in Iraq is a huge organization. They kind of are coming comparable to each other, and they each will have 3 votes. So ADO in Syria will have 3 votes. Abnan Nahrain will have 3 votes because they're big. If I heard that they are joining forces with the other ones, but if not, by then they will have this much vote. And this again is still just a proposal, and all other special voting powers requests can be presented. So these are all basically ideas. We try to um, cook them and present them, and have few options and change them and vote on them in the conference. I hope this was pretty easy to follow. Sorry for my pauses and not finding right words, and hope I hear from you if you have any questions. Thank you. And yeah, the bylaws, I forgot about that one. Bylaws of the Assyrian National Council. So these are again some proposed bylaws shall be conducted by general conference. So general conference is where you elect these national council members, and then so the national council that will be created will have the power to update, upgrade its own bylaws and suggest it and get approved in the next conference. Shall have at least one member in. So because we are from all over the world, we should try to have as many representatives from various parts of the world in that national council. So not elect all of them from the United States or all of them from Sweden or most of them between Sweden and United States, but let at least one representative from major countries, major communities come there from various countries. So we want to have one representative to be head person to represent us in the world in the forms of one speaker to better show the nation that there is a we have a not a king but a figure, a head figure for our nation, so we can all gather around that organization and that head figure and emphasize the existence of this head organization. uh, so at least every 3 years, again, that's a number that can be changed to 4 years, 5 years, 2 years, whatever makes sense. But it has to happen. It cannot be put on pause. Elections cannot be postponed because there's no time or it's not a good time, because that is a danger of dictatorship. Not the dictatorship, but let's say the organization loses its connection to people. Uh, so this organization is will be created among all other organizations we have. It will not have direct authority over existing organizations. It cannot tell federations do this or associations do that because they voted for them. They have to gather their own power, their own reach, and be able to spread out in the whole Syrian world and become basically de facto Assyrian leading organization, uh, and other organizations respect it and follow its lead, but it does not have direct, of course, does not have a direct power over any organization that existed before. So of course they will be raising money. They will be owning buildings, maybe real estates, um, as small or as large as possible. Uh, so they have to be accountability, and we have to make sure that it's everything clean and by laws, and the organization, when it will be registered, shall be in a country that we can um, make sure to hold the people accountable and not allow any corruptions happen. So that was it. Thank you again for listening to this, and let us know if you have any questions. You will have my contact or our contact information in the email the way that you receive this. Thank you.